Hey James, Top Gun Bobby here. What are your thoughts on the 4% rule? Do you think it's a useful tool for determining retirement, or do you use something else? Thanks.
Okay, did that come through? He asked about the 4% rule. What are my thoughts on it? How useful is it? And I'm a little bit mixed. I think it's fairly useful. I think that we have to know. Okay, good, good. I think we have to know what the rule was created for, what the parameters were when they determined the 4% rule. Long time ago, they used to just assume they could pull out 6% and be okay. And a lot of people did okay with that. Not everybody did, though. And then we kind of got into a different interest rate environment. And then they kind of switched to the 4% rule. Returns started coming down. And so they switched to the 4% rule. And basically, the 4% rule is what are the odds that you're going to be able to live off of your retirement income or your retirement if you take an income of 4% each year. And it goes up with inflation. Goes up with inflation. And what most of the analysis have determined is that you can do it at 4% and have a high likelihood of success. Now, that likelihood of success is going to depend on how many years you're trying to make it work for. And really, the models try to do it for 30 years. So it may not be an ideal situation for people who are trying to retire early and might have to go out longer than 30 years. Because the odds of success were like 98, 99%, I think, when they did the 30-year time frame. Now, obviously, you don't want to be a part of the 1% that it didn't work for. Those odds aren't good enough if you end up being a part of the 1%. So for me, I like to have it a little bit safer. And that just comes from not necessarily just going with a lower percentage, but don't have everything at risk in the stock market. That's where I come from. And so this is where we look at infinite banking and our IULs and our whole life policies, the cash value life insurance. If we use those to help supplement what we can create and grow for our wealth in the stock market, it actually provides a really nice it provides a really nice backbone to that strategy. Because what happens is if you're in a whole life policy, you have guaranteed growth that's going to happen. If you're in an IUL, you're guaranteed that you're not going to go negative when the market goes negative. So what that means is when you get into retirement and you're relying on mostly your funds in the stock market, if the market crashes, you have an alternative area that you can pull from. So you can leave your money in the stock market for it to come back up over the next couple of years and take that opportunity to pull money out of your life insurance policies where they have not dropped, where the values have not dropped, and they will continue to grow. So if you're somebody who's building up your retirement in a retirement account looking to use the stock market and operate with the 1% rule, look to supplement at least a small portion of that inside a cash value life insurance policy. Now, it could be something else too. Maybe you do it in real estate, but you want to have it in something that's not correlated to the stock market that you can draw from if you need to. So maybe you have a retirement portfolio of rental houses that are all paid off, in which case maybe you only need to worry about pulling out extra income from the stock market. And if the stock market crashes, no big deal. But on the flip side, maybe you can take out a home equity line of credit if the market crashes, or a reverse mortgage or something else that you're going to have access to that money regardless of whether the market's up and down. The risk when it comes to using real estate or relying on a line of credit or something like that is if the market really tanks and we're in a big recession or a depression, credit might be hard to come by. So for me personally, this is where I'm building up my life insurance policies. I have 8 policies currently, and I plan to continue expanding those as I go, because as soon as I get those going, they're going to be compounding for the rest of my life. I know that regardless of what I do, I'm leaving a legacy gift to my kids because I have that death benefit. So even if all my financial goals aren't successful, at least I can pass a nice chunk of change along just as if they were. So that's how I'm covering my end as far as that goes. 4% rule, I will probably do something similar to the 4% rule. It just depends. Currently, the way I'm playing around in the stock market, I'm using options and I'm doing it to get income, regular income, and I'll probably have something set up similar to that if it's still around. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can approach the stock market if you're willing to spend the time at it. But for folks that are just put your money in an index fund and get the gains from that each year, which is a lot of people because they prefer to have that passive approach to investing, 4% rule could work great. Maybe you do the 3% rule. Maybe it's 2% by the time we're ready to retire. A lot of that's going to depend on how the overall interest rate environment continues to play out. I hope you found value in today's video. If you'd like to find out more about IUL and whole life, check out these videos right over here, and we'll see you next time.
Now go maximize your cash flow.